Truly delighted to have you on Richard Mwenja Exclusive, your only point of call on matters political and governance analysis here in Kenya and across the region. Welcome to the conversation. I'm Richard Mwenja, and today I have your favorite think tank, the gentleman who's going to help me unpack the day's conversation and bring the message home in a more better way. He's none other than former minister, the first of his name, Honorable Ruto Arap Kirua. You're well today?
Very well.
Very well.
I thank God and also do appreciate your presence. And you seem to have a very nice tie.
We are honored.
Thank you.
The pleasure is all mine to host you as well.
Yeah.
And asante sana for slating time for this production.
It's my pleasure always. Yeah, to have a chance to share my views with Kenyans.
All right.
Yeah.
Political temperatures in the country are rising pretty much fast. And the talk of town right now is the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. He's staring at an impeachment. And this far we've seen a number of members of parliament, over 200 of them sign up for his impeachment. And I want to understand this as a seasoned analyst in matters politics and governance, and you've been in town for quite a while, Minister. Who is going to be the biggest casualty of this impeachment that is being fronted the way of Rigathi Gachagua in the fullness of time?
Well, there are a number of suggestions that we've given to the president, one of which is that impeachment by any other form or any other form of harassing a deputy is likely to be counterproductive. Remember, the current president rose to fame just because he was playing the victim. So they have already made Rigathi reach out to people that hitherto were not so close to him. And in certain areas his name has featured. Remember when he was chosen as a running mate in the year 2002, not many people knew him. But today, it is not the same story. You've given him a lot of gravitas on the ground, especially around the mountain and other parts of Kenya, where people feel there is no benefit in doing impeachment at this time. Why so? Because we feel perhaps the system is trying to play to the gallery while some of the underhand deals are going through. Remember, they are done three. The question of communication or transport, question of energy sector, and the question of health sector. All these are heinous crimes that the current regime will pay for it. And thanks, they are not going through the legal process, including the issue of taking it for public participation that is genuinely done. And therefore, any other regime succeeding this one is likely to annul some of the decisions they are trying to make. So for me, I just pray for the deputy president also to be calm. He should not be worried anymore about impeachment because the process is not likely to be as smooth as that. In fact, I'm even suspicious of the figures because at the end of the day, to get 260 members of parliament is not a very easy thing.
Not a walkover?
It's not a walk in the park. It is something that some people may just be doing some kind of stage managing information to see how far they can go with this kind of threat. Otherwise, it may just be some just empty air or hot air, according to Justice Mother Kome. And I'm told the president is going to hold PG once he gets into the country. That PG might say, no, let us stay this issue until further notice. But it is not healthy for a nation. We are wasting a lot of resources, we are wasting a lot of emotions, and we are polarizing the country for nothing. This is serious polarization. Any politician has supporters. And when polarization takes the ethnic line, it worries me more, especially about the two communities, the Kalenjin and the Kikuyu. Richard, it is instrumental to realize the Kalenjins have kept quiet except for one or two.
Yeah, sure.
The people who are doing the dirty work are the people from Mount Kenya region, akin to what happened to the late Josephat Karanja. It was the late David Mwenje and the late Kuria Kanyingi who are involved as the hatchet men to destroy one of their own. This may be happening, and it may make the community around the mountain to recoil. And when it recoils, it's a very dangerous constituency.
You've mentioned about the numbers, and I want to understand this far. By President William Ruto going so hard to emasculate the opposition, getting Raila on board, other lieutenants in Raila's side to be in the side of the government. Would you say that this was part of his end goal, to get to a point whereby he can literally get the deputy under his fist and manage him accordingly?
Well, as I've said before, President William Ruto does not believe in any democratic institution or instruments of that. He's not a Democrat of any shade. And therefore, he would love to realize that his voice is the only voice in town. That's why when he goes even to cabinet meetings, he's the first one to pray, and he's the last one to make remarks and pray for the cabinet. When he went to Haiti, the same thing. He was the choir master, he was the prayer master, and the keynote address speaker.
He was just playing the father figure role there.
Father figure, at times even at home, you allow our children to pray for us, because possibly they have more honest prayers than ours.
But didn't you see his powerful remark and speech at United Nations General Assembly, the 79th edition?
Does he believe in that speech himself? When he talks about democracy, which he does not practice at all. These are some of the things that we must really tell this country. We must rise to the occasion. We must tell this regime, we've seen many regimes come and go. And therefore, even this one will disappear. And it will be forgotten sooner than later. Because it is not proper for a president to preside over decimation of institutions of government, both in terms of communication, in terms of healthcare, and in terms of electricity provision. All those are critical sectors in any economy that should not be in the hands of foreigners. If he wanted public participation or private sector participation, there is adequate position that Kenyans can buy into these assets, as long as management is right. So the question is, misgovernance that he has practiced is what is making Kenyans not feel attractive to buy shares into Kenya Airways Authority. Otherwise, that would have been the route that we can employ, like many other parastatals. Safaricom, for example, was a government parastatal. It was transited into private sector. Both internal and external investors came in to assist in terms of provision. And today, Safaricom is giving the government more shares than the precursor of Safaricom was claiming from the government. And even in terms of taxes, we are getting more from this. So, in short, I think we need to tell President William Ruto to realize that he's here for now. He will not be here. The maximum he can be around is 12 years. No, not 12, years. 8 years. The maximum from now, henceforth, is only 8 years.
8 years.
He realized some presidents have been taken to jail. He runs the risk of being one of them.
He runs the risk of being one of them?
One of them. You cannot be doing many things unconstitutional and you expect us to smile and say, good for us. It is not.
Are you afraid that maybe our president is one who is not afraid to auction the country?
He has already done it. He has already done it. The way he had actually... You see, the problem, Richard, is Kenyans forget. This same president auctioned the Procession Road, the road from Serena to State House. He got a title deed, went to KCB, and he borrowed some money against it. It is when Kibaki took over, because we needed the road, that he handed over to the Ministry of Lands the titles that he had already taken some loan with it. So they say old habits die hard. So if he was auctioning a public road at that particular time, calling it some kind of a plot, taking it to KCB and getting some money, I can't remember how much. I think it could have been 9 million or so, which was a lot of money those days, when a member of parliament was earning 18,000. Then later on, he had now to return those titles. So given a chance, he has done those three. Even carbon credit, he might auction all the national parks and the forests in Kenya. And he'll be a shareholder in the company that is giving us what we call carbon credit.
That would be conflict of interest against...
Already it is conflict of interest. Adani, the company that they registered in Kenya,
subsidiary
of Adani, I'm sure, either through proxy or he himself, has shares in that company. I've told you before that William Ruto cannot do anything unless there is something in it for him. Even what looks like innocent public encounter all the time he will be looking for what is in it for him.
But he pledged to be the economic messiah of Kenya and also to alleviate suffering of Kenyans during his campaign times. What happened to that pledge?
Remember the GNCs, they gave us 1,000 promises he made during the election, and none of them has been fulfilled. It is one of those. You know, he lies until he believes in his own lies.
You've mentioned that when it comes to his governance style this far, you've seen more of a feast manager. So the question on board is, would you say that for Kenya, unto us a dictator was born?
He's been in town, and I've said it before, and if we don't watch and if we are not vigilant, this guy can even do term extension for himself. He can easily say after 2032, if he wins the next election, that now we amend the constitution, we talk of a 7-year term for a president, and he says this is a new constitutional dispensation, therefore I'm starting my seven years.
Thank you for opening in that conversation about extension of term limits. Barely 5 days ago, we saw Nandi Senator Samson Cherargei come forth and renew this proposal for extension of term limits for MPs and the president from the current 5 years to 7 years term. For Senator Cherargei, he seems to be fully committed in making sure this proposal sees the light of day. Is there handwriting behind this proposal, just aside from Cherargei's handwriting?
Well, I don't know. Perhaps Cherargei is somebody who gets a flight of ideas. At times he does the right thing, at times he does the wrong thing. But extension of term limit, for me, it is not useful. Unless we were to have a caveat that anybody who is involved in this process shall be exempted from benefiting from this particular arrangement. Because the danger is that, you remember we had a 2-term limit for President Moi. But because it was a new amendment in the constitution, he said the old constitution is a bread already eaten. So he started the 2-term limit, 97 and 93, 92, to say now I'm starting the 10 years from 92. So he did 97, 92 and 97. Another 10 years, otherwise, if he had actually respected the position, he would have served for 14 years. So he ended up serving for 24 years. But because Mzee is gone, we do not have a problem with him.
All right, it makes sense. And let's circle back to now Rigathi Gachagua. This far, he seems to be a man at a limbo, at crossroads. Would you say Gachagua is safe in the hands of people outside Kenya Kwanza, or whom should Gachagua take solace in at this time?
There are two institutions. One is God the Almighty, because that one knows what will happen to his life in the next few years. And also the people of Kenya. The people of Kenya are such an innocent lot that they can forgive you all the sins when they realize you're under siege. Today, Rigathi Gachagua is under siege. We forget about the shareholding I was talking about yesterday. We forget about all these other small stories. Because for me, we are looking for democratic institutions and political hygiene. Political hygiene in the sense that we want to be clean. We want to be neat. In whatever we do, we don't do anything that will disfavor somebody. And the issues of democracy is that we measure by the way we treat those who are opponents to us, or to our opponents. So this is the way I see it. And my take is that he needs to consult good lawyers so that he does not run away and resign for no reason. Apart from consultation with good lawyers, he should also be politically shrewd, knowing that if he allows himself to be impeached, he loses political value, because he will only be a kingmaker, but he will never be a king. And the advantage is that this one is a dual process. You start in the National Assembly, you get the critical number, I think about 232, and then you move to the next stage,
the Senate.
So he can inject before it moves to the Senate. Because if he was to go and say, I don't want to be impeached, or there is impeachment, they will tell him, you are crying when there is no threat at all. There is no imminent threat around the situation. So he can inject at that particular stage. But you should also be careful, because what they can do a Waititu, and Sonko. How can they do the AYT2 on him?
Tell us.
They can make sure that Parliament finishes by 2 o'clock or about 4 o'clock, and there is nobody in the court of law, in the in the judiciary, to receive his injunction. Then Senate takes over, and if they get 2/3 of the numbers, by midnight, it's fait accompli. They appoint a new president at 10 o'clock, a new deputy president at 10 o'clock. By 6 o'clock, before the courts open, he's sworn in.
And that's it?
Yeah.
Last nail on the coffin?
They will say the horse has bolted. So these are some of the issues, but I know, because I'm not a lawyer, but of course I've dealt with Parliament for so long, those processes can be choreographed in a way that by the time you realize, you cannot go there. Remember, this regime is capable of doing that.
Manufactured doom?
Yes, manufactured doom, in the sense that, you remember, during the issue of Duale, trying to release the military to the streets.
Yeah, sure.
They did it. Then in the morning, they did a circus. Nobody has shown us the proceedings of that meeting that allowed Parliament to okay the releasing of the military to take care of the chaotic situation in town.
It makes sense.
So they can do that to Rigathi. Yeah.
And lastly, sir, for now, would you advise Rigathi to play the victim card, cry more, so that maybe people can warm up to his plea?
No, what he needs to do, I've said this country, the next election will be determined by 2 constituencies.
Which is?
Which is the GNC constituency and the Mount Kenya constituency.
Hold on at that, because this far we've seen as a section of MPs allied to Kenya Kwanza dismiss Gen Z as a passing cloud.
Oh, no way.
From your end, is it a passing storm? That
No. These are Kenyans. You remember when we used to go to the streets when we were in high school or university, we were the same age as these young men and women. So at times we think they don't know. They know more than us because of the internet. And I usually know when I have a problem with my phone, I call my children.
But this far we are seeing faces representing the Gen Z going bare knuckles on each other, the activists among the Gen Z. Morara Kebaso versus Masita Rus, other quarters versus the other, and there are also claims of commercialization of activism. Don't you think this is something that will crack the Gen Z movement and declare it redundant by 2027?
No. Far from it. I know some people will wither by the wayside. Because some people have different intentions. You know, even in every struggle, there are people who are consumed in the process of the struggle. But the struggle does not stop.
Some won't get to Canaan?
Eventually, Kenya will get to a better place. Yeah, this regime is going to go out of town in the next 3 years.
So you say anyone dismissing Gen Z is doing so at their own peril?
In fact, it's a serious constituency. For me, what we should do is to look at the issues they raised. If it is the issue of inclusivity, any government worth its salt must do that. If it's the issue of detribalization of the country, any government must do that. If it's the issue of fairness in job identification and placement, any government should do that. If it is lack of buying jobs to the military or to the police, those are issues that they are prevalent even in my backyard, even in the backyard of William Ruto,
the president.
Eldoret North constituency.
You say there are 2 critical constituents that Gachagua should be keen to address, the Gen Z, and which one was the other one?
And the mountain.
How so?
The mountain, what he should do now, and he should not be called a crybaby. You know, the problem with him, he has overdone that. I would advise him to do about 7 meetings. 7 meetings in the following counties: Meru, Tharaka Nithi, Kirinyaga, Embu, Nyeri, which is his backyard, Nakuru, Laikipia, and Kiambu. And those meetings should not be done with the media around. He looks for serious opinion shapers, 400 of them, he addresses them, he tells them the truth about what is happening. If he does those meetings, the game is over. He will come to Kitale as a hero.
That would be a lethal blow for
I'm telling you. In fact, this issue of impeachment, Ruto might shy away. That PG, just watch that. It is not as easy. And you know when the mountain moves, it rumbles.
But the president now has solace in CS Kithure Kindiki, whom over 40 MPs have pledged their allegiance to.
No. Kithure Kindiki, I know, is my good friend, but is lightweight. When it comes to the issues of the mountain, is lightweight. Talk of other people.
Does it have the wherewithal and the
talk of former President Uhuru Kenyatta. Talk of even Deritu, not in Deritu Mureithi of Laikipia, can easily be a more lethal weapon within the Mount Kenya region. You can create gravitas sufficient to make sure that everybody realizes the mountain has spoken.
But remember, this is not the first time when the Meru community and the Embu are saying we are tired of playing second fiddle to the Gikuyu. Don't you think that's something that will...
They are one community. You see, at times, we create these divisions for the sake of our political convenience. When you hear of a Kalenjin, when a Pokot speaks, I can hardly follow. But you people around the mountain, you can follow your discussions. Even the Kikuyu and the Akamba, they can almost follow. So it's the same community. And if one of them emerges from the east of the mountain, so be it. Like the late Jeremiah Nyaga, the late Jackson Angaine, yeah, the late Mwiraria.
David Mwiraria?
David Mwiraria. Yeah. So whichever side of the mountain, they are the same people. In fact, they share names, they share culture, they intermarry. Yeah. In fact, if let's say a daughter from Kiambu goes to Kalenjin and the other one goes to Meru, they're happier about the one who has gone to Meru because bado yuko nyumbani.
They're all daughters and sons of Momau.
Yeah.
But you've said when the mountain moves, it rumbles.
It rumbles.
There
and when it rumbles, people get scared.
They get scared.
Even William will get scared.
You have it. You've heard it from the think tank himself, the firebrand, former minister, Kipruto Arap Kirwa. So much nuggets of wisdom coming from him on how we can forge ahead amidst all these confusion in the country when it comes to our political issues and also what that means for the local mwananchi. So much for Rigathi Gachagua to tap into. How about now we cross over to this insightful segment that is Heroes Corner with Honorable Kipruto Arap Kirwa. Waziri,
yes.
The other day you were talking about the African teacher, the mother of Africa, the father of Africa. Who today
the African child.
The African child.
Today is the African farmer.
The African farmer?
Yes, the man who is very patient.
All right.
Or the lady who is very patient.
And you are a farmer, by the way.
I'm a farmer, but a small-scale farmer.
Okay.
Or mid-scale. Let me not be too modest. Mid-scale farmer.
You are trying.
Yeah, a farmer has a lot of patience. At the beginning of the year, he puts 1 million shillings or more into the soil with the hope that the rain will come. And with the hope that when the rain comes, it will be in the right amounts and it will sustain the crop to full fruition, especially those who are maize farmers. Number two, this farmer will go through a lot of tribulations. At times when the crop is so good, like farmers in Trans Nzoia, in August, there is a lot of wind that can easily ravage the harvest that he was expecting in December. This farmer will still have the patience that the maize will almost rise up after almost being flattened in the field. They wait by November, they realize now the maize is dry, but there's still some rain, which can cause a lot of post-harvest losses. But the farmer is still hopeful. And when they harvest in December, the government says the prices have gone to 2,500 from 5,000 the previous season. There is no guaranteed minimum returns to the farmer of Kenya.
Insult on their labor, that one?
That is it. It's an insult. While the same regime had given us that they will do what we call GMR for all the farmers, so that at the beginning of the season they ought to announce that this year we are going to buy your maize 90 kilo bag at 4,000. But instead they keep quiet. Up to now they have not said anything.
But maybe it's because also the same government subsidizes the production of that maize. That's why they're buying at a cheaper price.
The subsidy is a meager kind of effort, because subsidy, for it to take the term subsidy, must also be able to dampen the prices of other alternative commodities in the market being provided by the private sector. Today, if you go to Sibanga, which is a center next to my place, a DAP fertilizer bag retails at 6,000 or more. The subsidized fertilizer that they say it came here was fake. Some of it was soil, some of it was cow dung, and some of it was said to be soil conditioner.
Enhancer.
And soil enhancer, soil conditioner. Well, I do not know any of those terms. Some of them are new in the vocabulary of farming. I've done farming for the last 40 years, and yet I've never seen such a term. And of course, even the basic agriculture I did, I've never seen such a term.
Even at your time as a Minister for Agriculture?
There was no soil enhancer.
In the Cereals Board? You never supplied soil enhancers to
No,
farmers?
we never supplied that. And the retailing price, to remind William Ruto when he talks of 6,000, the retailing price for fertilizer when I was minister was 1,800. He came and said he has brought it from 6,000 to 2,500 when he added 700 shillings to what I was retailing at National Cereals and Produce Board. And if anybody is in doubt, let them go to Mosbridge, let them go to Eldoret, give me a receipt of what was the retailing price at that time, 2007.
So for this farmer who is patient and hopeful and now is looking forward to new tidings to be heralded by the government of the day, what is your word for this farmer?
Well, I advise them,
in the face of all this adversity.
I advise them to be genuine prayer warriors, make sure that they consult Ruto to ensure that their prayers reach the heavens. And for that, it will assist them almost overcome some of the challenges they have faced up to now. Yeah.
So would you say that this far as a country, we've never really given our debt of gratitude to farmers in the measure that they deserve?
We've not. We've not, and we are not likely to do in the intervening period. Perhaps another regime, but not this, the current regime.
No, this regime ya mama mboga na mkulima mdogo?
No, it's the opposite of what they told everybody. Bottom up, is prices rising from the bottom to the heavens.
So how will the child of this farmer go to university with this new funding model? How will they afford it?
Get rid of the regime, and the rest shall be provided.
Get rid of the regime, and the rest shall be provided. There you have it from Kipruto Arab Kirwa, the Honorable himself. Until we meet next time on Richard Mwenje Exclusive, do enjoy the rest of your viewing. For you, Waziri, thank you for welcoming us to your home.
It's my pleasure. Always. This is your home.
We love it.
Especially those who come from Chirangani. It is their home. They made me get here. Otherwise, I would be in a local center trying to check who has said what. Yeah.
Such a tranquil environment.
We thank God for it.
And we are honored to be here.
It's also my pleasure.
All right. Asante sana. Engage him at Kiro Official on all social media handles. Get me at Mwenje Richard on X and on TikTok as well. Let's engage.